The galaxy had been at peace for 15,000 years. The Galactic Council, made up of 847 alien species, ruled everything. They controlled trade. They controlled travel. They controlled who lived and who died. And for 15,000 years, no one questioned them. The Council believed they knew everything. They had seen species rise and fall. They had watched civilizations burn themselves to nothing. And they had learned one thing above all else. To keep peace, you must control. To control, you must understand. And to understand a new species, you must study their young. It was called the Collection Protocol. When a new species joined the galaxy, the Council would take some of their children. Just a few. The children would be studied, tested, and observed. The Council said it was for science. They said it helped everyone. They said it was the price of joining galactic civilization. Most species accepted it. Some cried. Some protested. But in the end, they all gave in. What choice did they have? The Council was too powerful. Fighting them meant death. Then humanity arrived. Humans had lived on Earth for a long time, fighting among themselves, building and destroying, loving and hating. When they finally built ships that could travel faster than light, they burst into the galaxy like excited children running into a garden. They were loud. They laughed too much. They made friends too quickly. They asked too many questions. The Council found them amusing. Humans were small. They were weak. They lived such short lives, but they were also clever, and they worked hard, and they spread fast. Within 50 years, humans had built colonies on 3 different worlds. They traded with dozens of species. They learned alien languages and taught others their own. The Council welcomed humanity. They smiled their ancient smiles and said all the right words. And then, as they always did, they sent the collection ship. It happened on a Tuesday on the human colony of New Busan. The sky was blue. Children were playing in the parks. Parents were working, cooking, laughing. No one saw the ship until it was too late. The collection ship was silver and silent. It landed in the center of the colony without warning. Doors opened. Tall gray beings in white suits walked out. They carried devices that made people freeze where they stood. The screaming started immediately. Park Yuna was 6 years old. She had black hair tied in 2 little ponytails. She was playing with her best friend when the beings came. She did not understand what was happening. She only knew that her mother was frozen, crying, reaching for her but unable to move. "Mama," Yuna screamed. But the gray beings picked her up like she weighed nothing. They carried her toward the ship. Lee Taeho was 8. He tried to run. He was fast for his age, faster than most boys in his school. But the beings were faster. They caught him before he reached the trees. Kim Subin was only 5. He did not run. He did not scream. He just stood there, tears rolling down his round cheeks, calling for his big sister. "Unbai, Unbai, where are you?" His sister was at school, too far away to hear him. 12 children were taken that day. 12 human children carried onto a silver ship while their parents watched, frozen and helpless. The ship rose into the sky and vanished among the stars. When the freezing effect wore off, the parents collapsed. Some screamed until their voices broke. Some ran in circles, looking for children who were already gone. Some just sat on the ground and cried. Park Yuna's mother called her brother. Her brother was Admiral Kong Daejeon, one of the highest officers in the human fleet. When he heard his sister crying, when he heard what had happened, something changed in his eyes. "They took Yuna?" he asked quietly. "They took her, Daejeon. They just took her. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. My baby. My little girl." The Admiral ended the call. For a long moment, he sat in silence. Then he sent one message to every human ship in the galaxy. The message was simple. It said, "They took our children." Within 6 hours, something strange happened. Human ships stopped moving. Human communications went silent. Human traders closed their shops. Human workers left their jobs. Across 3 colony worlds and 100 space stations, humanity went quiet. The council noticed. They sent messages asking what was wrong. No one answered. They sent diplomats to human space. The diplomats vanished without a trace. They sent threats, promising punishment for breaking communication laws. The threats echoed into empty space. Finally, they sent warships. 300 council warships jumped into human territory. Weapons ready, expecting to teach these young creatures a lesson. The ships were never seen again. No distress calls. No explosions detected. They simply disappeared. As if the darkness had swallowed them whole. On the council homeworld of Velith Prime, the leaders gathered in their ancient halls. High Chancellor Orathon, a being who had lived for 1,000 years, stood before them. He was not worried. He had seen this before. New species always reacted emotionally when their children were taken. They will calm down, he said. They always do. Give them time. They will send angry letters. They will demand meetings. And then they will accept reality, as every species does. The other council members nodded. This was the way things worked. This was how the galaxy maintained peace. But one young council member, small creature with too many eyes, raised a concern. I have studied human history, she said. They are not like other species. When their children are threatened, they do not negotiate. They do not accept. They fight. They fight until they win, or until they are all dead. Orathon laughed. It was a cold, ancient sound. Then they will all die. We have ruled this galaxy for 15,000 years. What can these small, short-lived creatures do against us? He would learn the answer soon enough. In the silent darkness of space, humanity was building something. In shipyards hidden behind dead moons, engineers worked without sleep. On Earth, scientists unlocked weapons that had been forbidden. In military bases across 3 worlds, soldiers trained for a war unlike any humanity had ever fought. And in every human heart, the same fire burned. They took our children. They will give them back. Or we will take them back. And the galaxy will remember what happens when you touch a human child. The stars held their breath. The storm was coming. 30 days passed, and humanity said nothing. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Every other species, when their children were taken, had followed a pattern. First came the anger. Then came the demands. Then came the negotiations. And finally, acceptance. That was how it worked. That was how it had always worked. But humans did not follow the pattern. They did not send angry messages. They did not demand meetings. They did not negotiate. They simply went silent. And in that silence, something terrible was growing. High Chancellor Orathon stood in the great council chamber, trying to hide his confusion. Hundreds of alien leaders looked at him, waiting for answers. He had none. Perhaps they are simply grieving, one council member suggested. Humans are emotional creatures. They form strong attachments. Maybe they need more time. Perhaps they are planning surrender, another said. They have seen our power. They know they cannot win. Orathon nodded slowly. Yes, that must be it. They are coming to terms with reality. Soon they will return to normal, and we will continue as we always have. But deep down, something bothered him. He had studied human history. He had seen their wars. He had watched recordings of their soldiers fighting against impossible odds, never giving up, never stopping. And he had noticed something strange about humans. They were at their most dangerous, not when they were loud and angry, but when they were quiet. In human space, the silence was not empty. It was full of purpose. On Earth, a global vote was held. Every human, from the oldest grandmother to the youngest person old enough to understand, was asked one question. What shall we do? The world had not agreed on anything for centuries. Humans argued about everything. Politics, religion, money, power. They divided themselves into nations and groups and fought among themselves endlessly. But when the question was asked, all arguments stopped. 7 billion humans answered as one voice. We bring them home. All of them. Whatever it takes. General Beak G1 was given command of the response. She was 52 years old. With gray hair she refused to die, and eyes that had seen too much. Her daughter Hannah, age 7, was one of the 12 taken children. When they offered her the position, she did not hesitate. She did not ask about pay or rank or politics. She asked only one question. When do we start? They started immediately. Across human space, shipyards that had been building trade vessels switched to building warships. Factories that made household goods began making weapons. Scientists who had studied farming and medicine now studied destruction. Engineers who had designed buildings now designed bombs. And through it all, no one spoke to the outside galaxy. Every message from aliens was ignored. Every attempt at communication was met with silence. Commander Yoon Ha-jun led the training of ground forces. His twin children, a boy and a girl aged 6, had been taken from New Busan. He had not slept properly since that day. His soldiers saw the darkness in his eyes and trained harder because of it. The council thinks we are weak, he told his troops one night. They think we are soft. They look at us and see small creatures with short lives, but they do not understand what we are. He held up a picture of his twins. For them, I would walk through fire. For them, I would fight gods. For them, I would break the galaxy itself. And I know every single one of you feels the same about someone. That is what the council does not understand. They took our children. They made this personal. And humans, when things are personal, do not stop. Ever. Old veteran Cho Myung-soo came out of retirement on day 15. He was 78 years old, with white hair and a bad leg and hands that shook sometimes. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth, back when humans still killed each other. Those were fights between brothers, he said, when they asked why he returned. Ugly things. Shameful things. But this is different. This is not a fight between humans. This is every human against everything that is not human. This is parents coming for their children. And for that, I will fight until my heart stops. They gave him command of a destroyer. He named it Grandfather's Promise. In hidden bases, scientists worked on weapons that humans had forbidden themselves from ever creating. There were rules about war, rules that humans had made after their darkest times. Rules about what weapons were too terrible to use. Those rules were suspended. Dr. Shin Myung led the weapons research team. She had spent her life trying to heal people, trying to save lives. Now, she was building things that could kill on a scale never seen before. I hate this, she told her team one night, tears in her eyes. I became a scientist to help people, not to destroy them. Then she looked at the picture on her desk. Her nephew Kim Soo-ben, smiling with a gap-toothed grin. But they have Soo-ben. They have all of our children. And if I have to become a monster to bring them home, then I will become a monster. On day 25, the human fleet was ready. Thousands of ships, hidden behind dead moons and inside asteroid fields where the Council never thought to look. Each ship was crewed by volunteers. There were more volunteers than spots available. People begged for the chance to fight. Admiral Kang Daejeon stood on the bridge of his flagship looking at the stars. His sister called him every day crying, asking about Yuna. He had stopped answering. Not because he did not care, but because he could not bear to hear her pain until he could promise it would end. 5 more days, he said to himself. 5 more days, and we move. General Beak joined him on the bridge. She looked older than she had a month ago. They all did. Are we ready? She asked, as ready as we can be. Is it enough? Daejin turned to look at her. I do not know. The Council has ships we have never seen, weapons we do not understand. They have ruled the galaxy for 15,000 years. And yet, he smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who had accepted that he might die and did not care. And yet, they do not have what we have. They do not have 7 billion people who would rather die than leave their children in alien hands. They do not have mothers who have not slept in a month. They do not have fathers who cry when they see empty beds. They have power. We have purpose. I think purpose is stronger. On day 30, the silence ended. human ships moved as one, merging from hiding places across 400 light-years of space. Communications opened for the first time in a month. General Beak sent one message to the galaxy. "Iga! We are coming. Give us our children, or we will take them. This is not a threat. This is not a negotiation. This is a promise." The galaxy would learn what that promise meant. On the 31st day, humanity struck. It did not happen in one place. It happened everywhere at once. Across 400 light-years of space, human ships appeared from nowhere. They came out of hiding places the Council did not know existed. They used jump technology the Council thought humans did not have. They attacked with weapons the Council had never seen. The first target was Kareth Station, a massive military base that protected the inner Council worlds. 3,000 Council warships floated around it, each one larger than the biggest human vessel. The Council commanders looked at their screens and laughed when they saw the human fleet approaching. "There are only 500 of them," one commander said. "This will be easy." 11 minutes later, every Council ship at Kareth Station was burning wreckage. The station itself was a twisted ruin of metal. Human casualties, 0. The commanders who had laughed were dead before they understood what had happened. Across the galaxy, the same story repeated itself. Human fleets appeared, struck with terrible speed, and vanished before the Council could respond. Military bases that had stood for thousands of years fell in hours. Patrol fleets that had never lost a battle were destroyed completely. The Council had thought they understood war. They had fought wars before, long ago. They had records and tactics and strategies that had worked for thousands of years, but they had never fought anything like humanity. Human soldiers did not fight the way the Council expected. They did not follow normal rules. They took risks that seemed insane. They attacked when they should have retreated. They kept fighting when they should have surrendered. General Beak commanded the main fleet from the battleship Hannah, named after her daughter. She watched the battle reports come in and felt something she had not expected. Hope. "They are breaking," she said quietly. "Faster than we thought possible." Admiral Kongdajin nodded beside her. "They do not understand why we are winning. They think it is our weapons or our technology." "What is it really?" Dajin looked at the stars burning on the view screen. "It is love. They have never fought an enemy that fights for love. They do not know how to respond to it." On the front lines, young pilot Song Yunbai flew her fighter like a demon. She was 22 years old, barely out of flight school. Her younger brother Subin, age 5, was one of the taken children. She had not seen him in over a month. She did not know if he was scared or hurt or crying for her. All she knew was that he was out there, somewhere waiting for her, in the Battle of Orith Prime. Her squadron was ordered to attack a massive carrier ship. The carrier was protected by a shield that seemed impossible to break. Other squadrons tried and failed. Ships crashed against the shield and exploded. Yunbai did not stop. She flew straight at the shield, faster than any pilot should go. At the last moment, she fired every weapon she had at one single point. The shield flickered. She crashed through the gap, ejecting from her fighter just before it hit the carrier's engine core. The carrier exploded. Yunbai floated in space, her suit keeping her alive, waiting for rescue. When they picked her up, they asked her how she knew the plan would work. "I did not know," she said. "But my brother is in this sector. If there was even a small chance that ship was blocking our way to him, I was going to destroy it." They asked if she was afraid to die. "I am afraid of not saving Subin. That is the only fear I have left." She flew 2 more suicide missions before the war ended. She survived them all. Some said she was lucky. Others said something was protecting her. Yunbai did not care about reasons. She only cared about finding her brother. By day 45, the Council military was in chaos. Their ancient strategies did not work. Their superior numbers meant nothing. Human ships seemed to be everywhere at once, striking, destroying, vanishing. Species that had served the Council for thousands of years began to surrender. They watched human fleets pass through their space and did nothing to stop them. Some even helped, providing information about council defenses. Why are you helping them? A council officer demanded of one alien leader who surrendered. The alien leader looked at him with strange eyes. Because when I look at the humans, I see something I have not seen in 15,000 years. I see parents fighting for their children. My species lost that long ago. We forgot what it felt like to care that much about anything. The humans reminded us. Veteran Cho Moong-soo led his destroyer into the heart of Council territory. At 78, he was the oldest combat commander in human history. His hands still shook, his legs still hurt, but his aim was perfect and his courage was endless. Grandfather's promise will not break, he told his crew before every battle. We made a promise to every grandchild taken from us. We will keep that promise or die trying. They did not die. Somehow, against all odds, the old ship and its old captain survived every fight. Moong-soo said it was because the universe knew they still had work to do. On day 60, Jinnerbeak made an announcement to the galaxy. Human ships broadcast it to every world, every station, every place where beings could hear. We did not want this war, she said. Her voice was calm but hard, like stone covered in ice. We came to the galaxy with open hands. We wanted friends. We wanted peace. We wanted to trade and learn and grow together. On the screen behind her, images played. Images of 12 children being carried onto a silver ship while their parents screamed, "You took our children. You thought we would accept it, like others did before. You thought wrong? We will not stop. We cannot stop." Every human heart beats for those 12 children. Every human hand holds a weapon until they are home. She leaned forward, and the galaxy saw her eyes. They were not angry. They were not sad. They were simply determined, with a certainty that could not be shaken. Surrender now. Return our children unharmed, or we will break everything you have built, everything you believe in, everything you are. This is not a threat. It is a fact. We are coming, and nothing in this universe will stop us. The council finally understood. They had not started a war. They had awakened something that should have been left sleeping. By day 60, the Galactic Council was broken. Their fleets were scattered or destroyed. Their military bases burned across 1,000 worlds. Species that had served them for thousands of years now refused their commands. The ancient alliance that had ruled the galaxy for 15,000 years was falling, apart like wet paper. High Chancellor Orathon sat alone in his chamber, staring at reports he could not believe. He had lived for 1,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had faced threats that should have destroyed the council. Nothing had ever come close to this. How? He whispered to himself. How did they do this? He had studied humans. He knew they were clever. He knew they were stubborn. But they were also small and weak and young. They had only been in the galaxy for 50 years. They should have been easy to control. Instead, they had broken everything. His advisors came to him with desperate suggestions. Some wanted to hide the children, use them as bargaining chips. Some wanted to kill the children, hoping that would stop the humans. Some wanted to flee to the far edges of the galaxy and hope the humans would not follow. Orathon rejected them all.
Oh.
If we harm those children, the humans will never stop hunting us. Never. They will chase us to the end of the universe and beyond. I have seen their eyes. They are not playing games. They are not making threats. They mean every word they say. He stood slowly, feeling every year of his long life. We will surrender. We will return the children. And we will hope that is enough. The meeting was arranged on neutral ground, a dead moon between human and council space. General Beak arrived with Commander Yoon Ha-jun and a small guard. They came in a simple shuttle, not a warship. They did not need to show strength. Their strength was already proven. High Chancellor Orathon arrived with his own advisors. He was taller than the humans, with skin like blue stone and eyes that glowed with ancient light. He had met thousands of species in his long life. He had negotiated with beings of great power and terrible intelligence. But when he looked at General Beak, he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. She was small. Her hair was gray. Her face was tired, but her eyes held something that made him want to look away. There was no hatred in those eyes. Hatred, he could understand. There was only certainty, a complete and absolute knowledge that she would do whatever was necessary to achieve her goal. General Beak Orathon said, trying to keep his voice steady, "I am glad we could meet. I believe we can reach an agreement that benefits everyone." Beak did not smile. She did not nod. She simply looked at him. "You misunderstand this meeting," she said. "We are not here to negotiate. We are here to accept your surrender. Full, complete, unconditional. Surely we can discuss. There is nothing to discuss. Return the children. All of them. Unharmed. Now, that is the only item on our list." Orathon spread his hands. "The children are safe. They have not been harmed. They are in comfortable facilities, well fed, well cared for. This collection process has happened for 15,000 years. Every species eventually understands." "Stop." Beak's voice cut through his words like a knife. "I want you to understand something, Chancellor. I am going to tell you about one of those children, and you are going to listen." She stepped closer to him. Her guards did not move, but Orathon's advisors stepped back. "Park Yuna, 6 years old. She has black hair that her mother ties in 2 ponytails every morning. She is afraid of the dark. She cannot sleep without a small stuffed rabbit named Mochi. Every night since she was born, her mother has sung her the same lullaby, the same song every single night, because Yuna cannot sleep without it." Beak's eyes never left Orathon's face. "You took that child from her mother. You put her in a laboratory? She has been alone for 2 months, scared, crying, wondering why her mama does not come, wondering if she did something wrong. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what you have done?" Orathon tried to speak, but his voice would not come. "For 15,000 years you have taken children because you believed you had the right, because you believed your power gave you the right. But power does not give rights. Power only creates consequences, and this is your consequence." Commander Hajun stepped forward. He had not spoken since the meeting began. His twin children, 6 years old, had been taken with the others. He had not slept more than 3 hours a night since that day. His eyes were hollow, dark, empty of everything except purpose. "I want to say something," he said quietly. "I want you to understand why you lost." Ethan looked at him. The human commander seemed barely alive, held together only by will. "You studied our history. You saw our wars. You saw our cruelty. You thought you understood us, but you missed something important. You missed what we fight hardest for." He pulled a small picture from his pocket. 2 children, a boy and a girl, smiling at the camera. His twins. Humans do not fight hardest for power. We do not fight hardest for money or land or resources. We fight hardest for this. For family. For the people we love. You could have taken our planets. You could have taken our ships. We would have been angry. We would have fought. But eventually, we might have stopped. He put the picture away. "But you took our children. Our babies. The ones we would die for without thinking. The ones we would kill for without hesitating. You turned every human into a soldier. Every parent, every brother, every sister, every grandparent. 7 billion people, united by one goal. You created the most dangerous army in the history of the galaxy, and you did it by making the worst mistake possible." General Beak nodded. "The surrender documents are prepared. You will sign them. You will return every human child within 12 hours. You will never take children from any species again, and you will remember this lesson." Orathon looked at the documents. 1,000 years of experience told him to argue, to negotiate, to find a better deal. But when he looked at the humans, he knew there was no deal. There was only this: surrender or watch everything burn. He signed the documents. "I hope," he said quietly, "that one day you will forgive us." Beak took the signed papers. Her expression did not change. "Forgiveness requires understanding. You still do not understand what you did. Maybe someday you will. Until then, stay away from human children. Stay away from all children. And remember what happened when you forgot that some things are sacred? She walked away without looking back. The war was over. The children were coming home. The rescue ships reached the children 12 hours after the surrender was signed. 17 different research facilities across Council space had been holding them. Human soldiers entered each facility with weapons ready, expecting resistance. There was none. The Council scientists stepped aside, heads bowed, refusing to make eye contact. They had seen the news. They knew what humanity had done to get here. They were afraid. Medical Officer Oseri led the rescue team at Facility 7, where 6 of the 12 children were held. She was 29 years old, trained to heal, trained to comfort. But nothing had prepared her for what she found. The children were in small rooms, clean but cold. They had been given food and water and toys to play with. Physically, they were unharmed. But when Saria opened the first door, she understood that physical harm was not the only kind. Park Yuna sat in the corner of her room, holding her knees to her chest. She was 6 years old, but her eyes looked older. She did not look up when the door opened. She had stopped looking up weeks ago. Every time the door opened, it was just another gray being with strange devices. Never her mama. Never anyone who loved her. Sari knelt down slowly, making herself small. "Yuna," she said softly. "My name is Sari. I am here to take you home." Yuna did not move. She did not believe it. She had dreamed of going home so many times. She had woken up crying so many times. "Your mama is waiting for you," Sari continued. "She sent me to get you. She wanted me to tell you something. She said that Mochi is waiting on your bed. She said she has been practicing your lullaby every night so she does not forget the words." Yuna's head lifted slowly. Her eyes were red from weeks of crying. Her face was thin. But something in those eyes changed when she heard about Mochi, when she heard about the lullaby. "Mama," she whispered. "Yes, baby. Your mama is waiting. Will you come with me?" Yuna stood up on shaky legs. She walked to Sari and reached out her small hand. When Sari took it, the little girl began to cry. Not sad tears. Relief tears. The kind of tears that come when you realize the nightmare is finally over. Sari picked her up and held her close. "I have you," she whispered. "I have you. You are safe now. You are going home." Similar scenes played out across all 17 facilities. Soldiers who had killed without hesitating during the war now cried like babies when they saw the children. Hardened commanders who had ordered the destruction of fleets fell to their knees when small hands reached for them. Kim Subin, only 5 years old, had stopped talking during his time in captivity. He had retreated inside himself, refusing to speak to anyone. But when the rescue team entered his room, one soldier showed him a picture. It was a picture of Song Yunbai, his older sister. Suben looked at the picture. His eyes went wide. And for the first time in weeks, he spoke. "Nuna," he said. The Korean word for older sister. "Nuna is coming? She is waiting for you on the ship," the soldier said. "She flew very far to find you. She wants to take you home." Subin stood up and walked to the soldier without hesitation. He was ready to go. He had been waiting for his Nuna all along. The rescue ships gathered in orbit above Earth 3 days later. The whole planet was watching. Every screen showed the same image. 12 shuttles descending from the sky, carrying 12 children home. Crowds gathered at the landing site. Thousands of people, maybe millions, standing in silence. The parents of the 12 children stood at the front, barely breathing, afraid this was all a dream. The first shuttle landed. The doors opened, and Park Yuna walked down the ramp holding Sari's hand. She looked around at the huge crowd, confused and overwhelmed. There were so many people, so many faces. Where was Yuna? Her mother's voice cut through everything. Yuna saw her. Standing there, tears streaming down her face, arms open wide. "Mama." Yuna ran. Her small legs moved as fast as they could. Her mother ran too, closing the distance. They met in the middle and crashed together, holding on so tight that nothing could ever separate them again. "My baby," her mother sobbed. "My baby, my baby, my baby. Mama, I knew you would come." I knew it. I knew it. Around them, the world watched and wept. One by one, the other children were reunited with their families. Lee Taeho refused to let go of his father's hand. His father did not mind. He had no plans to let go either. When Yunbai saw her brother Subin walk off his shuttle, she broke through the crowd barrier. Security tried to stop her, but Admiral Kung Daejin waved them aside. "Let her go," he said. "She earned this." Yunbai reached Subin and dropped to her knees, pulling him into her arms. He was so small, so thin. "But he was alive," Nuna Subin said quietly. "I waited for you, I know, baby. I know. I am so sorry it took so long. It is okay. You came. That is what matters." She picked him up and carried him toward their parents, who were both crying too hard to walk. The family came together in a tangle of arms and tears. General Beak watched the reunions from a distance. Her daughter Hannah was the last to exit the shuttles. 7 years old, with her mother's determined eyes, when Hannah saw Beak, she did not run. She walked slowly, almost carefully, as if she was not sure this was real. "Mama," she asked when she reached her. Beak knelt down. "Yes, my love. It is really me." Hannah touched her mother's face, feeling the tears on her cheeks. Then she nodded, satisfied that this was not a dream. "I knew you would come," she said simply. "You are my mama. You always come." Beak pulled her daughter close and finally allowed herself to cry. For 2 months, she had been a general, a leader, a weapon. Now she was just a mother holding her child. The Galactic Council dissolved 1 week later. In its place, a new organization was formed. Humanity helped write the new laws. The first law, carved in stone and broadcast to every world, was simple. No child of any species shall ever be taken from their family. This is sacred. This cannot be broken. Old veteran Cho Mong-soo watched the celebrations from his porch on Earth. He had survived the war. His ship had made it home. His job was done. 15,000 years of peace, he muttered, sipping his tea. And they broke it in 1 day by taking our kids. Foolish, so foolish. 1,000 years later, alien children across the galaxy still grew up hearing the same warning: "Be good, little one, or the humans will come." But human children heard a different story. Parents told them, "You are never alone. No matter how far you go, no matter how lost you feel, someone will always come for you. Always. Because that is what family means." And on a monument orbiting Earth, words were carved in stone that would last forever. They took our children. They learned why that was a mistake. The galaxy never forgot. Neither did humanity.